Real Madrid have rounded off the campaign in style. Another win for them. Arsenal came from behind away to Girona. A great finish to the campaign for them as well, safely in that top 8 seeded teams. 2-2 between Barcelona and Atalanta. Barcelona stay in those top 2 seeds as well. Lille, one of the big stories, absolutely smashing Feyenoord, who, remember, beat Bayern Munich 3-0 last week. Lille, one of the stories, as I mentioned, because they are in the top 8 of the Champions League and straight into the last 16. Bayer Leverkusen doing their bit as well. Last year's Europa League finalists beating Sparta Prague 2-0 at home to be safely into the top 8 also. And Aston Villa, 41 years since they last played in Europe's top competition. They've beaten Celtic 4-2 this evening. They were 2-0 up. Celtic came back with two Adam Ida goals to make it 2-2, and then Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins. Morgan Rogers completing a hat-trick. But 4-2 and in 8th place and the last position straight into the knockout stages. Atletico safely through in that top 8 as well. Dinamo Zagreb, despite that historic first ever win at the 7th time of asking against AC Milan, they do not go through. They were just squeezed out on goal difference, and Inter Milan cruising through as well into that top 8. Now, Manchester City, as we saw, we'll talk about them in a minute. They got the job done on goal difference. They go through to the knockout playoff round, so they live to fight another day. PSV Liverpool, we mentioned, good win for PSV there. They're safely into the knockout playoffs as well. Big win for PSG. They got the job done nice and early in that one, thumping Stuttgart, who go out. Juventus beaten at home to Benfica, who are safely through, as are Juve. Bayern edged their way up the table, but out of that top 8 where they'd expect to be. Sporting survived just thanks to a second-half equaliser at home to Bologna. Dortmund safely through. Shakhtar joined the eliminated teams as well, and those last 2 games involving teams who were already eliminated with no impact on the overall table, which looks like this. And I suppose, look, the big story you'd have to say, Brian, I think I'm right in saying, are the 2 teams in 7th and 8th in that round of 16, because they're the ones who've gone straight through into that top 8 and maybe booked the seedings.
And neither of them any great history. I know Aston Villa won it, as Richard said, early in the 80s, but Lille and Aston Villa, tremendous performances for them. You look, a finishing ahead of the seeds like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, all down. Although what they did tonight is they inched themselves into the seeding positions in the playoffs. But it's great for those clubs, particularly important, I think, for the teams in the most competitive league, like the Premier League, Liverpool, Aston Villa. I would say also Inter. I think the Italian league is quite competitive right at the top. Atletico and Barcelona scrapping in the top 3 as well in the Spanish league. But they'd be glad to see Real Madrid having to play 2 more matches also. So I think Manchester City just squeezing in to the playoff round.
It's going to make that playoff round really interesting. And like, while it's a night of celebration from Manchester City point of view, in that they've avoided the...
It's relief, Tommy,
relief,
I think,
I suppose.
for them
Yeah, it's probably fair to say that. When they look now, what may well await them, whether it's Bayern or Real Madrid, it sort of reflects what's happened in the season so far, that you just would have expected them to cruise, like previous seasons with the way they normally play in this tournament, to cruise safely through.